Hello and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about my nexplanon contraceptive implant story because it wasn't good. And because I think it's important for us all to talk about our reproductive health, especially when occurrences like mine happen. And I would like to just slide in here and say that all of these experiences are my own. And if you are having anything similar happen with you, then please go and talk to a GP or a healthcare professional, just to make sure that nothing, bigger is occurring. Also, if you're more of a reader, I have a whole blog post over on my blog about my whole kind of nexplanon and contraceptive experience and how I navigated life after it. So let's get to it. So firstly, what is nexplanon? Nexplanon is a type of contraceptive implant which is a small, flexible plastic rod that is placed under the skin in your upper arm. It releases the hormone progesterone into your bloodstream and prevents pregnancy and lasts for up to 3 years. I got my nexplanon implant around the middle of September 2020, and previously to that I was on the mini pill for some months, but then I changed to nexplanon because I wanted something a bit more reliable and long term, so I made the switch. I was told that some of the side effects that would occur with the nexplanon implant was it would make my period longer or shorter, or that my period would stop altogether. I was told that it might make my periods a bit heavier and a bit more painful, and that was it. And it was going well for a month or so, but then I just didn't stop bleeding. I just bled. I just kept bleeding. I bled for about a month before I began to kind of question, if there was something wrong, because that had never happened to me before. I'd never had a month-long period, but it didn't stop. I bled every day for 2 years. 2 years. So about 3-4 months in, I decided to contact my GP to tell them that this is what I was experiencing, and I had a phone appointment, and then a few weeks later I had another appointment to take some blood samples for testing, and then a few weeks more to get the results from the blood tests, and then a few weeks later to get a follow-up call from my GP. So we're now about 6 months in and I'm still bleeding. When I got my blood test results back, everything was normal, everything looked good. My GP said there was nothing to worry about. So my GP then prescribed me with something called norethistérone, and that helps delay your period. I think I was on them for about 10 days and it worked. My period stopped finally. So I phoned up my GP and I was like, wonderful, it's worked. Thank you so much. I was so happy. I was like, finally it stopped. But then a few days later, I had the worst period pains and bleeding I've ever had in my life. It was so heavy and so painful. Like, I was on the floor. Like, I've had painful periods before, but it wasn't nice. It was horrible, and there was so much blood. It was so heavy. And yes, again, the bleeding just continued after that. And then around 8 months in, I started experiencing severe anxiety. And the reason that I'm mentioning my anxiety is because when you are on a hormonal contraceptive like nexplanon, your body stops creating a natural hormone called progesterone, and your body is pumped with a synthetic alternative called progestin. And the wonderful thing about progesterone, the lovely natural hormone that our bodies create very naturally, is that it plays a very key part in calming down the nervous system. And I learned all of that in the wonderful book by Maisie, Period Power. It is incredible. Please, if you have periods or if you know someone who has periods, buy them this book, like for yourself, your friends, your family members. It is invaluable. It's packed with so much information about your cycle, about your hormones, how they all intersect, how they change, the effects of contraception on your body. It's incredible. I'll leave a link in the description below for you because you need to check it out. So anyway, just to give you a little bit about my anxiety. So after learning that all of my anxiety that I was experiencing was hormonal based and not myself, it was triggered by my hormones, or a lack of. Like, it was actually a thing that my body was doing chemically and not an external trigger or like an environmental trigger. And it was doing it because there was a natural hormone missing. Although I do have health anxiety, so any kind of pain or sensation that I don't like that does trigger me. I honestly do think I am gonna die when I get any pain in my body. It's horrible. But knowing that the anxiety that I was feeling wasn't really me, it was just chemical, a lack of a chemical, was just such a relief, because my anxiety was horrible, and it always happened at night, so I couldn't get any sleep, which made me more anxious. It was a horrible cycle. I do remember talking to my GP actually about my anxiety, and I asked them if it could have been triggered by my contraceptive, and she said it couldn't be, but I have very much connected the dots here on this. And also I do believe that I have developed gallstones because of contraceptive. I had some pain in my right side, went for an ultrasound, found out that I had gallstones. Googled reasons for gallstones. Turns out too much progesterone causes gallstone. And what had I been pumping my body with for 2 years? Non-stop. Fake progesterone. Oh, just, if you have an implant and it really isn't just working for you, please just get it out. And also throughout having the implant, I've experienced weight gain. My chin hair started to grow. I had so many spots and I was upset a lot. I would cry for no reason. And obviously I developed anxiety and I was bleeding all the time as well. It just wasn't nice. It was a horrible time in my life, and I'm so glad I'm past that now. I finally got an appointment to get it taken out in late May 2022, and it was the best decision I have ever made for my health, ever. Almost all of my anxiety that I was experiencing has completely gone. I do have like a little moment of it every now and then, but at its worst, when I did have the implant in, you know, like I said, it was nightly. It was horrible, but I rarely have those kind of moments now, which is so nice. My spots started to clear, my chin hair isn't that bad anymore, and I just felt better overall. Even my partner has noticed, and it's coming up to 8 months that I've had it removed now, and I feel so much better. Like I mentioned in the video earlier, I really do recommend buying or finding at a library Maisie Hill's book, Period Power. I learned so much from it, and it's incredibly empowering. All of this information about my body that I never knew about before. You know, I feel like we were taught the bare basics at school, like the very bare basics at school, but to have all of this knowledge about my cycle and how the hormones work within that cycle, and the kind of the quadrants of a menstrual cycle, how the hormones kind of intersect in there, and what the different hormones do, and how they make you feel, how they affect your body, your mind, like chemically, is so invaluable. And I really do think that this book should be in schools everywhere. It should be taught. It's so good. And like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below so you can have a look at it. I really hope that if you're having any troubles with your contraception, even if it's the implant, if it's something completely different, that you go to your GP or your local health provider to talk about it and find something that suits you. For me, I know that coming off hormonal contraception was the best idea for me. It was the best thing for my body and my mind. So I hope you can find something that works for you as well. And that's it for this video. It would mean a lot to me if you subscribed, or if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And please leave a comment too if you've had a similar experience to mine, if you've had a completely different experience, if you love being on hormonal contraception or the implant, or if you absolutely hate it. Let's have a chat in the comments. The more we are informed about this kind of thing, then the more we can make informed decisions about our health. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week.